Oh, hello, this is Scott. I just hit the record button and I didn't even know I hit the record button. That is brilliant tech work. But here we are. It's Thursday, which means it's the Let's Talk About Robot Trading webinar. And we're here every Thursday, lucky for us. Got a good number of people here. So let's get started. We're going to talk about snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And of course, that phrase is supposed to be snatching victory from the jaws of defeat for great sports comebacks. And of course, we're doing a little play on words, and we're going to work on the opposite today, or at least talk about what in the heck I mean. I'm going to minimize the questions dialogue for those in the live webinar. Let's move forward. Excuse me, real quick, that's my website. Ebook's not available. Gotten some great feedback on the ebook. Ebook is written to help you. It helps me, so that's why I wrote it. So feel free to get on my website and take a look at that, but got some great feedback from that. It's on Amazon, of course. Also, before we get into that, I wanted to take a look. This is a live trade. Last week, we talked about getting out of trouble. If you're trading a system without stop losses, such as my fair value system that we trade, this is a trade I'm actually in this. It's strange that I trade my own systems. That's odd. Why would I do such a thing? But anyway, I'm in this trade, and I wanted to talk about this because we talked about getting out of trouble last week. This trade has been in almost a week. Now, I don't know about your no stop loss system, but from this particular no stop loss system, we know that a week is kind of a key metric. And when I say kind of, I don't mean kind of. I mean, it is a key metric because these trades are usually over within a week. We're waiting for fair value. We like to use Bollinger Bands. This, though, is the main thing we like to look at, which is our definition of fair value. And we like to wait for it to get away and trade back up. And you can see a couple of trades were taken back on 322, and then it's gone sideways. This one almost got us to our profit target, and then it went away and it wandered away, and I've gotten a couple emails about this trade, and it's wandered away and wandered away and wandered away. Now, what to do, because this red line represents pretty much the profit level that we want to get. I didn't actually calculate it, but it's pretty darn close. So what we need to end this trade in profit, and our goal is to end it in profit every single time, we needed to reach that level. Now look at this. Look at the recent action, and this is what I wanted to talk about. This came almost all the way up to our line where we could get out in profit, right? This wild action this morning, it's March 30th, 2017, went up, went down, again, almost reached that level. It's gone sideways, and it's pretty close to this level. Now, what can you do? Well, you're not in profit if you're in the trade like me. So what do? It's not quite been a week, so maybe you do nothing, because we like to only start worrying about getting out of trouble when it's been longer than a week. However, this amount of drawdown, it was fairly significant. Excuse me, enough for people to get nervous about it and email me. But now it's very, very close to our profit target. This drawdown is very, very small. It's the equivalent of maybe one or two trades, roughly, right? And we know that most of the time these trades work out really quickly. One element of getting out of trouble is just take it out right now. This is a very, very, very small loss, right? I said it in the course, but you realize that if you take stuff out for a very small loss, now obviously you can't do it all the time, but if a trade lasts a long time, and we know that 90% or more end within 24 hours or at least 2 days, so we know we're going to get lots of profit, you have an option of just taking it out now. We'll get this back in a couple trades. And if you take it out now, what's the pro of that? Well, the pro is this trade is never going to wander into a big drawdown. It was in kind of a big drawdown, not really that bad. But if you take it out now, you know there's going to be no drawdown forevermore, and you can go right back to winning almost all your trades. Okay? Something to consider. When it's this close and it's been a while, maybe just take it out. Or you can just be patient and try to let it get to profit. But I did want to make that point. There's, like you can see, that's kind of reaching this level and dipping back, right? Not the best sign in the world that it's resisting right at our profit level, but it's probably also irrelevant. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention. When you trade a no stop loss system, there are no hard rules. You can get out and use your creativity anytime you want. If you have a profit target set to 10 or 20 bucks, you want to take it out early and make 19 bucks, that's okay. Because this system, we're just trying to accumulate wins. Got it? So that's not the lesson for today, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. I'll also, if and when it gets into profit and the trade is closed, I'll also notify you of that. All right? Okay. Let's move on now to our topic du jour. The tricky path to superstardom. The path between we're nobody now and nobody cares about us to we're somebody and everybody admires our tennis playing ability or everybody admires our trading account. Well, let's talk about tennis because, you know, we love to on our Thursdays. The path to tennis superstardom is fraught, I like that word, with twists and turns. You don't go from a beginner to an elite player, meaning best in your city, best in your state, best in the Midwest, maybe among the best in the country, pro tour. You don't get from beginner to that point without some twists and turns, right? It is a steady progressive path, but it doesn't necessarily go where everything is easy. There are a lot of twists and turns, but it generally, if I may be general for a moment, it generally goes like this. All right, you're a beginner. Again, tennis world. You need a system. You come to me as a beginning tennis player, you need a system. In other words, a way to hit the ball. All right. You can't just say, I want to be a superstar. Well, what is it in tennis that makes you a superstar? Hitting the ball in all the time. Right? Well, how do I hit it in all the time? It's extraordinarily rare for someone to walk in as a beginner and hit the ball in tennis. Tennis has a huge barrier to entry. Well, money being one. Tennis is an expensive sport. But there's a huge barrier to entry / success because you can't really do it on your own. Tennis is not something that you can be self-taught. It's almost impossible to be completely self-taught. So when you start in the tennis world, you need a way to hit the ball. Now, that being said, there are many ways to hit a ball. There isn't just one way to be great at tennis, right? You can get to a full college scholarship or a state championship or just the best on your team or all the way to the top 100 in the world or all the way to the top 10 in the world and have terrible strokes. Now, what do I mean by that? Strokes that could easily be improved, strokes that have waste in them. For example, you have a take back and you flip your racket up and down at the beginning of your stroke for no reason. That flipping of the up and down has no bearing on you hitting the ball. It's just a little twerk. It's just a little tweak that you have in your stroke, right? It's just, I like to raise my racket up and down. It doesn't have a purpose. When you have someone beautiful like Federer, everything flows and everything has a reason and it's rounded and it's beautiful and it's fluid. You can be machine-like, you can have waste everywhere in your strokes, and you can still make millions. You can still be among the best, right? Give you an example. Everybody who's even a casual tennis fan says Serena's a legend. Serena. Venus too, right? They're both legends. They have terrible strokes. I'm just telling you, as a tennis instructor, they have basically high school level strokes. Right? They're not good. They are known for extraordinary amount of unforced errors, which is part mental, I realize, but it's also very much physical. They have strokes that simply don't work. They have athleticism that overcomes their deficiencies, right? But that's just an example. So you don't have to have a perfect system. You don't have to have perfect strokes to be the best. Federer happens to have perfect strokes, but you don't have to, right? You can win with imperfect strokes, and you can trade with an imperfect system, right? Just so you know. Okay. After you get a system, but you do need a system, it needs to have rules and it needs to make sense to you and you need to understand it. Okay. Then you need to show up every day. Okay. Now for using the tennis example, no one goes anywhere without regular deliberate practice. It's impossible. You can't just be a quote unquote natural. There is no such thing. There's no such thing as a natural and the science backs it up. We can talk about that some other time. And need to show up every time. No one came to me and said they wanted to be a superstar and then showed up once a week or less or took a week off. Nobody did that and made superstardom. The people who showed up every day and found a way to hit the ball, it was almost inevitable. I mean, it's about 100% success rate in tennis, where if you showed up, you learned how to hit the ball, and then deliberately practiced every single day or every day your clinic was scheduled, it happened. It was, like I said, it was an inevitable process to becoming great. But the key isn't, people, 10,000 hours. You can do something for 10,000 hours and be terrible at it. It's 10,000 hours of deliberate, focused practice, meaning I hit the ball, I get feedback, I make a change. It's not I hit the ball, I talk to my friend, I sit on the changeover, we talk about boys or we talk about girls, and then we look at our phone. That's not 10,000 hours, okay? Same thing with trading. You don't turn on the charts and then look at the internet all the time if you're a discretionary trader, right? If you're a robot trader, you don't turn the robot on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, mess around with it, right? Deliberate practice, okay? Get it? Then, and we're getting to our topic of the day, once you win, right? So you're a tennis player, you start to win tournaments. At first, you were unseeded. Now you're the number one seed. At first, you'd lose first round. Now you're winning multiple tournaments in a row. Or you're a trader. First, you have no money. All of a sudden, now you're accumulating money, right? Once you become successful, whatever successful means, improvement, marketable improvement, right? Something you can mark down. Not marketable is the word, but something you can mark down and actually see progress. Once you get to that point, you need to not listen to anyone else. This is crucially important. Don't listen to anyone else specifically who says you need to make changes, right? It's always good to listen to other people and be open-minded. We've talked about that many times here in our webinars. But anyone who comes to you once you became successful, right? These are people who never spoke to you, never even knew your name when you were a scrub, never knew your name when you're playing first doubles on your high school team. But now that you're top 10 in the entire Midwest, now all of a sudden they have tips for you, right? How many times have I seen this happen? About 1,000,000, right? This happens. It happens every time. This is also inevitable. And when you become good at trading, there is a possibility that people might come to you. Okay, well, now you need to do this, right? You need money. Well, what if you do this? Blah, 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 right? If you listen to people who say, yes, you've been successful, but you need to do this to make, you need to make these changes to be really successful, all your success might just go away. It might be gone forever, right? How do we change a winner into a loser? Well, here's how it goes, people, and this is what I've seen and why do I keep calling you people. Well, you are people. So you're going along and everything's moving forward, right? Keeping our tennis example or our trading example, doesn't matter. Your account is growing, your wins are piling up, right? Using trading. You're winning, you are losing because everything loses, or you're using a no-stop system and you are drawing down, but you're handling it, right? Using a stop-loss system, and yes, you have a losing month or a losing series of trades, but you've looked at your spreadsheets, you know what's coming, you understand how many you get a year. It's not a problem. The losing, actually, you kind of look forward to, because guess what happens after losing? Winning, you've kind of, I'm relieved. I was looking for a loser, right? Once you are winning, you're managing the losing, and the plan is working, right? You have a general expectation and it's being met, right? That's in a situation where, you're on your path, right? You're pretty much on an inevitable path to success. Now, on the court, this is the moment when the experts, and this is in quotes because they may not be experts. This is when the experts start creeping around saying, oh, you're good, right? You're winning tournaments, but you can't get to the Pro Tour unless you do blank. Again, how many times have I seen this? Every single time, right? For example, student has come to me and they didn't even make varsity, right? I've maybe told this story before. Student came to me, 17 years old, never made high school varsity. We work together, things start clicking, and he starts just dominating, right? He starts winning tournaments, college All-America, gets on the Pro Tour, starts playing prize money tournaments, and guess who comes out of the woodwork? All the experts saying, yeah, you need to do this, you need to change his grip, you need to do this, oh, your knee bend is this, your shoulder turn is this, your racket is this. Everybody has an opinion as soon as they got good. Now, when he was not making varsity in his high school team, he didn't have any tips. No tips for him then, right? But now all of a sudden that they can attach themselves to a rising star, everybody's got advice, right? Now, in trading, it can happen to you either in isolation, right? You're being successful, you're making progress, you're managing the losses, and then you start listening to webinars where people have more money than you, and you think, whoa, I don't do that. They do that. I don't do that. Maybe I need to change, right? I haven't been successful perhaps for decades or years or anything else. Maybe they're right. Maybe I do need to change. And so then you do, right? You're a success. You go from junior varsity to winning tournaments, and then some expert comes out of the woodwork and says, change this. All of a sudden now you can't hit the ball in, right? I've seen with my own eyes, for example, there's a kid who played for a local university, Division I, major university, and he was top 10 in the nation, Division I, right? That means you got a chance at the Pro Tour. He was like 7 in the country. A USTA national coach then started whispering in his ear, right? He had listened to his college coach, right? And he'd gotten from nowhere really to 7 in the country-ish. Now he starts listening to a USTA national coach and his ranking starts plummeting, right? He got enamored by this USTA guy because he had credentials, he had a name, and he threw aside all the things that made him successful because this is what you had to do. Kid's ranking dropped and he never made it back, never made the Pro Tour, and that was the end of his career, right? Again, I've mentioned this happened to my students, but in my particular case, all my students have just said, no thanks, but no thanks, like that scene in $1 Million Baby when she starts coming up with Clint Eastwood and then a slick guy comes around and she says, no, thank you. I love that scene, by the way. But I'm just saying, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen what we're talking about turn into your own eyes, okay? Or turn into your own eyes. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. Right? It might have turned into your own eyes. What kind of eyes do you have? All right. Let's talk facts now, all right? That's concepts. How do you change a successful looking system into a loser? All right. Well, let's go through it. Here's the original system characteristics, right? This is a robot that I actually trade. Okay. You test it, right? You have it for many, many years, over 13 years, and there are no losing years. Okay. It's a system, right? Doesn't win all the time, right? Because it's a stop loss system, but every year for a 12-month period, it has no losing years, right? Using 0.4 mini lots, you have about $14,000 of profit. You have about a $1,000 drawdown, about 14-to-1 ratio. Excellent, right? We love anything over 2 or 3, right? 14-to-1, fantastic, right? So you've got a successful system, and you think it's okay. Here comes, in the middle of your success, here comes brilliant idea number 1. You find from some sort of trading guru or book or whatever, you say, you'll never make it to the top unless you bet more when you're on a hot streak, right? Maybe you listen to a podcast or an interview and some guy made, 10,000 turned into $1 million in 5 minutes. And they said, well, what happens when I bet more when conditions were favorable, right? And that's how you do it. Well, I don't do that. I bet the same amount each time. He's making millions. I'm just making 14,000 or something. Clearly, I don't have what it takes to make it to the big time. I'll change my system, right? And that's what I did. For example, this week, I had something built a while ago. An equity curve filter is what it's called. And what it did was when the equity curve is positive, meaning we're on a hot streak, the robot could automatically change the trade size and bet more or less, okay? So, for example, it made a moving average of the equity curve, right? And this is just a rough description. When you go on a streak and the equity curve was above the trend line or was above the average, bet more, right? We're in a winning streak. Get the most out of the winning streak. Conversely, when you went through a losing streak and your equity curve dropped, it lowered the bet or stopped betting at all. Pretty cool, huh? This is an idea that is destined to work. Clearly, this is what I've been missing. I'm going to the big time, all right? And this particular robot change 4 times more when it's favorable and regular trade size when it's not. So you're betting more on a hot streak and less when it's not. And what's the result? 14,000 turned into 11. The drawdown did decrease, but look at the profit to drawdown ratio. It went from 14-to-1 down to 12.4. Okay? Now, it didn't turn it into something that's tragically terrible, but it's simply not as good as if we stayed put. This idea that someone told us to do or told me to do to make it to the big time didn't make it to the big time at all. I would be better off in the long run if I just stayed with my regular trade size. And that's how you change a winning system into a not as good system. Well, what are some more brilliant ideas that might screw it up? Adding to my positions. I just want to go on record right now as saying I want adding to positions to work. I want it to work. This should work. My mind tells me it will work. It should work. It has to work, right? You have a 10 pip target. If you bet more, right, it goes in your favor. You bet more, you take another position. And instead of making $1,000 on a trade, if you bet more as you go, you make $1,300, $1,400, $2,000. That's clear. That's just math, okay? The turtles, right? I built a robot based on the turtles called the Breakout. I did not build adding positions into it because I wanted it simple. The turtles added to positions. We know how they did. They're maybe the most successful trading group of all time for a 4-year period. I want it to work. It should work. The math, at least in my mind, says it will work. It didn't work. It doesn't work. I cannot find a system to make this work. I want it to work. I may come to you later in a webinar and say it finally works. But how many years? We're going on almost 5 years now I've been testing this, and I cannot make it work. Okay? Well, prove it. Same system. Here's what I did. Same exact thing. I didn't change any parameters. I added one position at entry, another position at 5 pips of profit, and another position at 10 pips of profit. Okay? I think the profit was between 10 and 20 pips. Okay? The result, $7,619 less profit by adding positions, right? And this was, on about a $14,000. It's like almost 50% less, right? I don't have the exact number of how much less, but it was a lot less, right? It was $7,600 less profit and $593 more drawdown. Furthermore, remember when we had no losing years? By adding 2 positions, there were 3 losing years, meaning you could trade the system for 12 months and end up with less money than you had at the beginning, right? Trading just normally, just one position, one stop, one profit, made X amount of money, no losing years. Adding positions at 5 and 10 pips made that much less profit and that much more drawdown and added 3 losing years out of a 13-year period. That's unbelievable. And I want it to work. But again, that's how you turn a winning system into a losing position, right, system. Now, I'm not saying there aren't systems that it doesn't work, right? This is just an example. There may be systems where it's mandatory. What I'm telling you is I haven't seen it in my particular systems, right? So what is the conceptual takeaway? And that is someone gives you a tip and it doesn't make it better. You need to be careful. All right, let's get some more tips. Well, here's a couple more before we go. Some guru gets online and said you must trade the Asian session, right? Those are some of the most dynamic traders in the world. If you're not trading the Asian session with all that volatility, you're losing out and you'll never be a pro trader. Or, and I have heard this many times, you have to trade the London session. The London Forex session is the most volatile, most volume, best traders in the world. This is where you have to trade. If you're not trading the London session, you're not a trader. This is where the money is made. And unless you're trading it, you're not a professional and you'll never be successful. I've read stories of people who live in different parts of the world who get up in the middle of the night or rearrange their entire schedule to trade the London session. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Okay? This is where the big boys trade. Okay? Again, taking my individual robot, and you saw the results, by trading only the Asian session between 12 and 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So that's the only time trades are entered. A $14,000 system or whatever that profit was now is negative over the past 13 years. By trading when you're supposed to trade, it was negative $4,000. And if you traded just the London, which was 8 to 12 p.m. EST, negative $5,759. So I took a system, that is profitable by any metric, I'm doing just fine with, my account is growing, I took a tip that I'm not professional because this system doesn't trade either of these sessions, I could take a very nice winning system and turn it into a very horrible losing system. I mean, that's pretty sweet, right? And why did I do that? Because of a tip. I got a tip, or someone told me what they should do, right? Here's the bottom line, everyone. If you're having success, doesn't have to be with my system, can be with any system you have, you don't need any exotic changes. You are winning. In fact, you may not need any changes at all. Federer, for that 5-year period, which is the greatest run of sports in the history of anything ever, right? You watch him play, and it's amazing, but there weren't any changes, right? He didn't make any changes, right? Some teams don't change at all for years and years and years, right? The Belichick, New England Patriot, like him, hate him, they haven't really changed their system in years, right? If you're having success, you may not need any changes at all, and you surely don't need any exotic changes. But if you want to keep evolving, which I highly recommend, I'm not saying don't be open to improvement. Absolutely, we all need to keep improving. Then make sure, and this is the key point, you aren't doing what you think you should do. As Tony Robbins says, don't should all over yourself. I love that phrase, right? You notice in all of my examples, it wasn't something that maybe you came up with or a possible tweak, not twerk. It's something totally different that is something you should do. When those tipsters came to my students, they would tell them things that were totally opposite to everything that made them successful. Well, you need to do this, grip change this. Remember what I said? Change your serve this. They didn't say, I love what you're doing. Maybe hit that on the run forehand open stance, right? Something little that maybe you can adapt. It was something dramatically different based on what you should do. If you hear someone tell you what you should do, run or slap them in the face. And I don't advocate violence, so metaphorically slap them in the face, right? Tennis example, if you play a tournament yourself, or in you and your coach maybe, and you realize, if I could have just sliced, right, that person hit really flat. If I could have used my slice, I might have won. I'm not that great at slice now. That is a small change. Add it to your game, right? That is not the same as someone saying you need to change your grip, right? Grip changes take up to 6 months to change, right? Adding a new little wrinkle to your game is something you can get in a week, maybe in a day, right? That is something that is called evolving and maybe making something good even better. What does that mean in your trading system? Maybe you cut down your trading. Maybe you're trading 6 hours a day. Maybe you go 5:45. That's a little change, right? Maybe your profit target is 25 pips and you realize maybe 23 pips is just fine, right? Tiny little change that you organically see in your own system. And then you test, you realize, you know what? It's profitable both ways, but maybe it's a little more profitable this way. You don't say something like, I'm going to just trade the Asian session, even though I've been trading evening Eastern sessions, right? Because I should do it, right? Little tiny changes that come organically, that maybe pop into your head, or someone says, keep doing what you're doing, consider this, not what you should do. These are how you build change. But keep in mind, maybe you don't need any changes at all. If you're trading an automated system and you're not discretionary, there's a chance you might not do anything for a long period of time, right? Just keep that in mind. Discretionary people probably need to keep evolving little tiny things because they're trading based on market and action and price action maybe. But then again, maybe discretionary traders don't need to do anything either, right? I've had a lot of stuff built in based on what people told me I should do. And they don't tell me directly. I just read. I do a lot of reading, a lot of podcast listening, a lot of study. And I hear traders do this, so I build it in. I'm always looking, and I'll continue to look. But my basic systems are still the best by far. I cannot and have not built anything crazy in, something different like adding positions, for example. I've never been able to have that make a difference from the basic system, right? I'm just telling you, that's my experience. Tiny changes can be fine if they come organically, right? You know the difference by now. But big supposed to changes, they can be catastrophic. And please just send them out of your head forever. Don't snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Got it? All right, we'll check questions out real quick, see if anybody has anything super important to say, because I know you do. Hey, Dion, by the way, I missed your hello. Good to have you here. Ron says, like they say in Beauty and the Beach, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. B-R-O-E. Anyway, play on words. That's funny. Ron says, changes to be like small adjustments in flying a plane. Now, there's a great analogy that I totally missed. Ron's right. You're flying a plane, you make tiny course adjustments, right? You don't say, well, someone says you should fly at 30,000 feet if you're supposed to be flying at 10, right? That could be a problem. I love that, Ron. Exactly right. Tiny incremental changes are perfectly fine. That's part of learning and maybe even fun. Big supposed to changes are absolutely, well, I'm against them. All right, let's wrap it up. Our latest updates, the book is done. Got a lot of great feedback. It's only $2 on Amazon. Find it on my website, whatever. I did put a new video in the Fair Value course, if you're a Fair Value course member, and it was just the recording. I thought the recording was pretty detailed. If you are in the Fair Value course and you feel like the webinar wasn't sufficient, let me know and maybe I can make a new video for you. But I think it's pretty good, actually. It's time to begin work on the new trend following course. I'm going to begin that very soon. It's the last of the 3 styles that I really like. I like trend following, I like fair value or trading without stops, and I love day trading system that have stop losses and high winning percentage. So those are the 3 styles that I love that I'm willing to trade and actually do trade with my own money. We need to start working on that. So that's coming. I'm also working on a new day trading system. Obviously, the lifetime membership is going to be gone. With my new website, I've been able to consider taking maybe 1 or 2 more lifetime members on this year. That's just going to end. I wanted only a small group of lifetime members. I've got that now. I'm really happy with the people that I've gotten. The lifetime membership is going away, and when that does go away, so is the Hornet. The Hornet trading system is only for lifetime members. There are reasons for that, and that's going to go away too. But I am working on a new day trading system that's similar to the Hornet. So obviously lifetime members will get that also, but the people who aren't able to become lifetime members or it just gets closed or whatever, I am going to work on something that maybe we can all trade together. There won't be any deals as good as a lifetime membership, but there will be. I am working on something. I'm already live trading it, by the way, and if it's good, then I'll share it with everyone. I won't make it just for lifetime members. But like I said, lifetime membership is almost gone forever, and with it the Hornet, and I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Working on a performance page for the website. I would like people to be able to follow along. Everyone says my FX book. I'm just super unimpressed with my FX book. I know it's a great resource. I wrote about it yesterday. I know people swear by it. I don't particularly care for it. That doesn't mean I'm not trying to do it. I am currently trying to hook up one of my accounts to my FX book, and it's simply not working. Their tech support is not able to figure out why my accounts won't connect. So I might just do a performance page on my website, meaning snapshots of my personal account, and you can just follow along on my website. That's my preference. I don't really want to do my FX book. I just find it clunky and not useful. I know I'm wrong. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong. In fact, don't tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. I know people love it. I know it's a great way to verify your results. I just think there might be a better way. I don't know. Chances are I'll be on it, and I'll make me a hypocrite. But anyway. And then always say I love feedback. I've been getting some great feedback, so thank you. Please keep that up. We're over 640 people on YouTube now. That's where all these videos go, so that's great. Keep that up. That's where all these recordings tend to live. All right, that's it. They don't tend to live there. They do live there. That's contact information, website, and so forth. Contact me if you have any questions. That's all for this week, everyone. Love being here. We'll be back next week as usual with another webinar. Bye for now.